And it's not responding now. If the we're saving the user here. But everybody loves watching me sweat. Let me see here. So we did the sign up and it said, hey, user already exists. So that already means that we got a user when we did the find one. So otherwise, if there's no user, we should create the user, username, password, create the hash. We save the user and it should just tell us either we're saving it. So we can do just a bit of debugging here and say, hey, if it already exists, which already hit that path. Otherwise, should creating a new user and should create the new user here. User, and we'll call it username. Cool. And so now this should tell us whether or not we're creating a new user or not. We could tell if we actually hit an error or not, saving the new user object. Restart the server. Oh, that's really strange too. You see that? Registration successful.
Yeah.
These PowerShell windows are kind of weird because.
Well, if the registration is successful, what is the response that you're getting?
Well, now I got the response, and it was, hey, success. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Sometimes the PowerShell windows, like, I think when I do this, actually, I think this is the issue. It pauses it. I'm not sure. Okay. So I can do another user. I'll do sedward1722, and let's see if I got a response here. That's really crazy. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh,
It's
yeah.
redirecting you to success.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Great.
Okay, so we got through it too, so we're fine. So now, what we can do is, if you want to look at the actual database and see the users in it, we can do another PowerShell. We could just go to Mongo, and we could do something very quick. We could look at the actual database. Yeah, see that? Like,
yeah, so strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not going to touch this window. It keeps freezing up my, and that could be doing it to the server too. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so connecting the test, we can show DBs, and we can see all the databases we want. Remember we made a test chirp database, which is here. So we'll do use test chirp. Okay, now I can do show collections, and we'll see that we have a users collection, which is what we created before, which is based on users model. And we'll just do, let's see, db.users.find. And this will show us all the users that we've created. We could pick like the first one, and we could see that this is in the database, username 172, password, whatever is the hash. Cool. So we're saving our users now. I'm going to copy this over to our, since my hand coding seemed like it failed. I'm not too sure if it failed or if that was the MongoDB server, but let's quickly go ahead and do the API authentication. So now that we have the post APIs, so we've implemented all the API, the authentication APIs with the MongoDB database, saving users, pulling them out, etc. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement the post APIs to manipulate the post objects. We already have the authentication of those APIs already from the last module. So now all we're going to do is we're just going to put the MongoDB-ness in there, MongoDB-ize it, and then we should be good to go. So the first thing we'll do is, and this is the start. So remember that we did the is authenticated. We protected certain APIs that we needed to. And now we're actually going to fill out these to-dos. So what we're going to do first is we need to grab the mongoose module. Mongoose equals require mongoose. Okay. Okay. And then var post equals, which is our post model. And we'll do mongoose.model post. Beautiful. Okay. So now, what we need to do is we need to grab we'll do the get because it's really easy. So we'll do the get, we'll say post.find and function error data. Okay, so what does this do? So we had find one and we also have find. Find optionally takes a query parameter. If you don't pass a query object to it, it's just going to return everything in that collection. And the actual data object's actually a cursor. So if you have a large amount of stuff, it'll just cursor through the database. And we could use that and return that right to our client. So to do that, we will do if error. We could just return like res.send. We can send a 500 error. Let's say message. DB error. Actually, we can just put the. We can just pass the raw error to it. You might not want to do that because it's leaking. You're leaking diagnostics information, but I'm just going to throw it in there for time's sake. We'll return. So we should always return when we call our callbacks. Otherwise, we'll return res. Is it JSON or send? I don't think it matters, right?
Send. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll send the data back down. So what this will do is we'll send actually a collection of posts that we have in our database, and that will allow Helen to actually consume that in AngularJS and show our cheats. Now we got to actually implement the thing that'll create a new post, which is the post endpoint, the post method, and the post endpoint. And what we'll do here is we'll do post, the same idea here, except it's not going to be a find. It's going to be a, can we just do an insert? I'm pretty sure we could do that too. I'm not sure if that was our final implementation though. Post insert. I'm going to double check myself because I don't want to go off the paths here. Let's see. We've already serialized. We created all the authentication. We're going to do API post. And we're going to say, if we want to create a new post, we just, actually, yeah, this is for new post. So we create a new post, and I'll just copy and paste this because I am in a rush. So we only have 4 minutes left. All right, here. So now, instead of using the to-do or whatever we had, we're going to create a new post object. The post text is going to be the text and the request body. So it's going to do a post, and we're going to get the text out of the text body, and that's what we're going to shove into the MongoDB database. Afterwards, we're going to have the created by, which will actually, I think Helen wants me to change created by to username. And afterwards, we'll save it off into the database, and everything will be right with the world. So username here. Helen, are you calling the username on the request body?
I believe I am.
Okay. So this is coming right from Angular client, so that's why it's important.
Actually, no, it's created by.
Created by?
Yeah.
And do you want me to save it here as created by or as username?
You should. I think saving it as username. I don't know what I called it in mine, to be honest. But.
Excellent. Okay, cool. That's fine. And then, so now we've then created by with the text, and now we'll just return the post object. And so this is the returning the post object that we've created. Doesn't really matter. The client can do whatever he wants with it. And the post in here will actually save this into the database. So we have that. And then finally, we need to do our particular post. So I don't think this will actually use this on our front-end client explicitly, but I believe Angular does look for these endpoints. So we should provide them. So in order to do that, it's really simple. For each one, we're going to use the ID. The ID is going to be the same ID that we use in MongoDB, and that'll just be what we have on. We'll use the MongoDB ID for the ID part of the URL. So we have this, and then we have get specified post. So this will just get a post for a specific ID. I want to replace it for this one here. We have our put route, which is what we had before, but instead we need to modify an existing post. So again, this is right through our README. The put's a little bit longer because what we need to do, we need to find the post that we want to actually modify, and then modify it itself. So if you look, we have find by ID first, which is the ID of what we want to look for. The error, we return an error if we don't have it or not. Again, it's username, not, you're doing created by, right?
Yes, in my request body, yes.
Okay, cool. And then the post text, and then what we'll do is we'll save that. If we don't find that username, then obviously we can't actually update it, so that's why we return an error. So I have to do 2 actions here for the put, which is why it's a little bit bigger than the get. And then finally the delete, which is really just removing something from the database, which is just a dot remove function on the model. And there we go. So now all that's been implemented. So now our post our post API is allegedly completely implemented with MongoDB, and it'll actually allow us to get and put stuff in the database. Now, let's go ahead and give it a try and put my money where my mouth is and actually get everything working here. So we're going to run our server again. Okay. So, oh, this isn't our finish, but it should be the same thing. And we'll go to the advanced REST client here and we'll test. So we'll do a sign up, or maybe assign a login, because we have the same MongoDB database now. So everything is persistent. So we'll do auth login. Make sure MongoDB is running. Okay. Oh man. You know what we can do? I might just hit the live endpoint, because I'm not sure what's happening on my machine with Mongo, but it just seems like it's hanging for some reason. So we'll hit the live Azure website. So we'll go HTTP chirp MVA, the Azure websites.net, and we'll do auth. And I don't know, I'm just going to create a new user. So we'll do post, add a new value here. Username is equal to Steve88. We'll add a new username, password, which is password. And we'll do post. Oh, yeah, post sign up, right?
Yeah, post sign up.
Huh. It's doing the same thing.
Huh.
That's really
It's
weird.
strange.
Because the live app actually works, right?
The live site definitely is working.
Okay, well, it's going to have to work at some point because you're going to integrate to it. Yeah, not sure why. It should just work. I think it's hanging on that connection, but it's weird that the live site does that, and I'm pretty sure you could just sign in.
Yeah,
So,
I just registered right now on the live site.
yeah, I don't know. It might be the advanced REST client. We'll figure it out during the break, though. It's not a big deal. So, anyways, so we've MongoDB-ized our APIs by having our MongoDB instances actually create our users and create our posts, and we're able to return all those posts back down. And in the next section, what we're going to do is we're going to consume these APIs right from AngularJS. And what that'll do is it'll just create a quick little integration so we can actually do two-way binding on the front end, and that binding will actually integrate to the MongoDB database on the back end. So if you restart the server or if you do something else, it just kind of works. And all the cheats and all that will just be saved persistently between application restarts. Cool, so we'll see you back in a bit.
Yeah, see you back soon.